January 1, 2019. We're starting at the 12:15 hour today. I will ask everyone that can and will stand for the prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Moore will lead us in prayer.
Our God, our Father, we are here again before the throne of grace to say thank you for another year. Thank you for the opportunity to do greater things in the year 2019. We pray, oh God, for strength, for health. We pray, oh God, that we have that spirit of perseverance as we go forth, to hold on to those things that are pleasing in your sight and that are great and uplifting for the city of Gary. Bless each council person, each city administrator throughout the year, that they will make sound judgment, O God, and they will be crowned with wisdom from on high, that they will look to the hills from which cometh their help, and we know it all comes from the Lord. Let us keep our hope alive, and regardless of all setbacks and challenges that we might face, we're going to continue to look forward, we're going to continue to give you the praise, the honor, and the glory, and we're going to strive to make this city a better place for our citizens. We ask your blessings upon all who labor in sickness and bereavement. We pray, oh God, that they will be receive comfort throughout this year. And then, oh God, help us, that we might help us, those who are less fortunate than we. In the mighty and gracious name of Jesus Christ our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Present.
Councilman Brown.
Here.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Here.
Councilman Protho.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilwoman Rogers. Councilwoman Sparks Wade.
Here.
Councilwoman Wyatt.
Present.
And President Wood.
Here.
Mr. President, there are 7 present, 1 absent.
7 present,
Sorry,
8
8
present,
present, 1 absent.
1 absent. We do have a quorum to conduct the business of the city of Gary. We have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Mr. President, I move that the minutes from our previous meeting be approved.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Been moving properly second by Councilman Michael Brown. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Protho.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wyatt. Abstain. And President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 7 yes, 1 abstention.
With 7 yes, 1 abstention, the minutes from December 18, 2018 has been adopted and so ordered. Before we go to Councilman Orders Resolution on first reading, can I have a motion to approve the Gary Common Council 2019 committees at this time?
Mr. President, I move that the committees for 2019 for the Gary Common Council be approved.
Been moved properly second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Discussion on the motion?
Councilwoman Wyatt. Discussion.
Thank you. Our president has indicated that we're all free to attend, all council members are free to attend the committee meetings, which is accurate. And I do attend all of the committee meetings, even though I'm not appointed to any of the committees. What was left out of that is that while we can attend as council members, the committee members, and especially the chair of those committees, has almost absolute authority. We've seen in the past year that the recommendation of the chair is what comes before this council as a body. So I just wanted to point out that while we are able to attend the meetings, we do not have a voice in those meetings as far as official action. And I will continue to attend the meetings, although I'm not appointed to any of the committees, and I look forward to working with those committee chairs. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Brown.
I'd just like to say that even though a person may not chair the committee, and the committee chair sets the meeting, the committee chairs, as far as I know, for as long as I've been on the council, always has conversation with the colleagues on the council to see if they are in fact in support of whatever that ordinance or resolution may be. And the other thing is, we do not take votes in committee meetings. We simply have discussions. No votes are taken in committee meetings. And as I said, whoever chairs the meeting certainly talks to the rest of our colleagues to see how they feel about the resolution or ordinance that is on the agenda. So everybody does have an opportunity to have input. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Wade.
if it weren't that important, then myself and Councilwoman Wyatt and Councilwoman Rogers would be a chair on some of these important committees. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'd just like to say all the committees are important. Standing committees, special committees, all the committees are important. As Councilwoman Wade is aware, she brought in a committee that she thought was nothing last year, the ambulance committee, when she found funds that wasn't there, and she brought it to our attention, which we went into a big thing and took us into a lot of different directions there. But that was important that she thought was not important. But you can see it was very important, even the ambulance committee. All committees are important. I even added an extra committee here, school forums, and I put Councilwoman Wade over that because we do not have dialogue with our school corporation. So I would just like to say all the committees are important. Whether you're chairing them or not, they all are important. And your council members, you're welcome to attend those meetings. At this time, I would like to make a motion that Mr. Branson Williams, our legal advisor, continue to serve as our legal advisor. What's that? I'm sorry. That was discussion going on. Roll call, Madam Clerk. I'm sorry, we're going.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Protho?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade?
No.
Councilwoman Wyatt?
No.
And President Board?
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 6 yes, 2 noes.
With 6 yes, 2 no, standing committees for 2019 for the Gary Common Council has passed. I can have a motion to approve Mr. Branson Williams as our legal advisor for 2019.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion. I move that we retain Attorney Renzo Williams as the council's legal advisor.
Second?
Discussion?
Councilwoman Wade.
That was Wyatt.
I'm sorry, Wyatt. I'm sorry, Wyatt.
Again, this year I have had no one reach out to me to ask my opinion about whether Attorney Renzer should remain as our legal counsel. I've not seen a contract for Attorney Williams, and so I will be voting no.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Wade.
as Councilwoman Wyatt indicated, neither did I get a phone call in regards to, or have a discussion or text message in regards to whether or not I would support Attorney Williams. And I may have, but nobody has asked me for the support. And again, have not seen a contract or anything. So I too will be voting no. Thank you, Mr. President.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Protho?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade?
No.
Councilwoman Wyatt?
No.
And President Board?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 6 yes, 2 noes.
With a vote of 6 yes, 2 no, Mr. Renzo Williams will continue to serve as our legal advisor for the Gary Common Council 2019. Can I have a motion to appoint Mr. Virgil Moore, our financial advisor for the council?
Mr. President, I move that we retain Mr. Virgil Moore as the financial advisor for the Gary Common Council for the year 2019.
Second?
Moving properly second. Is there any discussions?
Yes. Mr. President, and I like Mr. Moore, and if somebody had called me and asked me if I would support that, it's how we do business, and that's all it's about. It's how we do business. And I don't believe that we're doing business the way the business should be conducted. So I will be voting no, even though I really do like Mr. Moore. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
Councilwoman Wyatt.
Yes, again, I have utmost respect for Mr. Moore. He has done an admirable job for us as the council financial advisor. However, I've not seen a contract. I've not been approached to get my opinion, and that is the opinion, that would be the opinion of the constituents of the First District. Thank you.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Proko?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade?
No.
Councilwoman Wyatt?
No?
And President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, voted 6 yes, 2 noes.
With a vote of 6 yes, 2 no, Mr. Virgil Moore will continue as our financial advisor for 2019. Assignment of council pending ordinance and resolution on first reading.
CPO 2018-70, an ordinance amending Title 15 entitled Land Uses, Chapter 123 entitled Zoning Code of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Gary, Indiana. Petitioner GNR Contracting, 5821 North US 35, LaPorte, Indiana. Property at 2859 and 2853 Dallas Street and 2800 and 2740 Calhoun Street.
Planning.
CPO 2018-71, an ordinance of the Gary Common Council establishing a holiday schedule for the City of Gary in calendar year 2019, sponsored by members of the Gary Common Council.
Finance.
Mr. President, it's assignment of pending ordinances and resolutions.
Mr. President,
Councilman Smith.
the Planning Committee has before it CPO 2018-70. For the record, I approve this ordinance for reporting out to council. Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
the Planning Committee has approved ordinance CPO 2018-70 for reporting out to the council.
Mr. President, the Finance Committee has before it CPO 2018-71. For the record, I approve this ordinance for reporting out to the council. Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
and Councilman Mike Brown.
Yes.
Mr. President, the majority of the Finance Committee has approved CPO 2018-71 for reporting out to the council.
Mr. President, the Planning Committee would like to report out CPO 2018-70.
Mr. President, Finance Committee would like to report out CPO 2018-71.
Thank you. At this time, special select any council members.
Mr. President?
Councilwoman White.
I just wanted to share with the First District in the City of Gary a Happy New Year. I look forward to a very prosperous new year for the City of Gary. And even if my voting record so far this year appears that I may be adversarial, I am most passionate about moving the City of Gary forward, and I will work hard to work with my colleagues to do that. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. We have January 28th, we have a First District community meeting. It's set for 6 p.m., and that's at the Marquette Park Pavilion. And our guest speaker will be the new emergency manager for the Gary School Corporation. I hope that anyone is welcome, whether you're in the First District or not. So I hope to have a big group then. Thank you.
Councilwoman White.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy New Year to everybody. And I pray that this is a prosperous and a peaceful and a blessed new year for everyone in the city of Gary and beyond. the 6th District. I love you all and thank you all for your support. When we talk about committees, when we talk about government, when we talk about democracy, we're not, we all have a voice. And the voice that you use is the voice that you end up being judged by. Being adversarial is not a bad thing. Being controversial is not a bad thing. Most leaders are controversial. Martin Luther King was not supported in the community as we now purport, and now he has a monument in Washington, D.C. Jesus was not supported. He was vilified. And so when we go against the grain and we speak because we're not beholden to anybody or anything, oftentimes you get vilified. You're the bad person. You're the troublemaker. I work well with my colleagues. I have questions. And I ask the questions because my teachers always taught me you are always supposed to have at least one question. That's the Gary Community School Corporation. Always have at least one question. Not going to belabor, just going to get the information out there, and as long as it takes, because of the financial condition that this city is in, as long as it takes, that's how long that it takes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anyone else?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Brown.
the 3rd District Community Organization meets bi-monthly. We will not begin our meetings for 2019 until probably March. We don't meet in January and February, but my assistant, Ms. Lane, will get that information out to those persons who normally attend the meetings and anyone who would like to become an attendee at the 3rd District Community Organization meetings. Please call my assistant, Ms. Lane, at 881-1315, and she'll be happy to put your name on the list. And I would like to extend my condolences to the family of Nate Johnson, who was funeralized over the weekend. Nate's wife, Dolores, worked at the bank on 17th and Broadway for many years. A lot of people remember Dolores. And I'd also like to extend my condolences to the family of Fredoria Grigsby Swan. Many of you know the Grigsbys. They were very active in politics for many years in the city of Gary. And I would finally like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Councilman.
first of all, Happy New Year to the viewing audience as well as everyone here in attendance. I'd like to wish everyone a prosperous New Year. I want to give my condolences out to the family of Ms. Tina Lynch. She was with the Roosevelt class of 77, my wife's class. She had a great home going, and Hiawatha Barnett did the Roosevelt fight song, so it was a great home going for her. I'd also like to give my condolences to my neighbor, Mr. Harold Bradley. He was with the Roosevelt class of 60. He was a great person, a great neighbor, and certainly will be missed. So I just wanted to express to those families who lost various members. Now, there were a lot of wonderful things that were going on in Gary since we last met. Hopefully, we'll be able to give you an update. Whether it was Toys for Kids, Santa Claus for Gap, U.S. Steel, and some of the other things. So I want people to know that the Genesis Center has been doing a fantastic job bringing events in here, and people from all communities have been coming in and supporting us. And I was extremely excited when I read that the governor said he had no intentions of intervening with the daily operations of the city of Gary and how we need to function, and the success that he feels that we'll be able to have. Thank you, and God bless you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Proto.
I would like to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and may you have a very healthy and prosperous New Year. The 2nd District, we're going to, later on this month, we're going to take a tour at the Gary Chicago Airport, which I think would be very exciting for a lot of members of the district who have been asking me, could they go out there and take a look at what's going on at the Gary Airport. So we're going to give them that opportunity later on this month, provided the weather don't turn on us. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilwoman White.
Mr. President, thank you. I forgot to announce that we do have an Art, Culture, and History Committee scheduled for January 14th. It's Monday, January 14th. It will be at 6 p.m. and it will be in the Cleo Weston Lounge. So that's January 14th, Art, Culture, and History, 6 p.m. All are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to just say Happy New Year to everyone. And I don't say it because it's a good cliche, but definitely Happy New Year. We have our work cut out for us in 2019. Everyone knows we've been talking about our financial troubles and what we're trying to move this city in a positive mindset and getting things done. And I was very happy to read about the governor coming out forward and letting everyone know the governor and the state has no intention on trying to take over Gary. Now, they did say that they're there to help. That's not something that I'm looking for, to give them that, ask them for their help at this time, you know. But I think we have to look forward to really working this city in a different manner. And it's going to take all of us to work this city. As we sit back and we look at the conditions of our city, it's nothing that we all can sit back and just say, hey, we got the best city ever. We know our city has problems. We know our city has issues. And it's time for us to come together and let's fix some of these things. If you look inside the 6th district, you look inside the 1st, you take any district, there are problems. There are situations that needs to be addressed. And going into this year, starting off arguing and fussing about the smallest little things that we haven't even touched the surface on the real issues here, we need to put those things aside. We got some serious problems going on here, serious. And if you really want to represent your district in a positive mind and a positive way as their leader and as their representative, come to the tables. Don't come with the excuses why this is happening, why that's happening. Come with your input how we can make those changes. Come with your suggestion how we can get more businesses here. I want to sit as a representative of this council here, letting the public know, letting people that want to invest in this city that this council is here. We're ready to go to work with whatever you need. There's no mess that's going on here, but we're ready to sit down with you and whatever we can do to make this thing happen. I just want to send that message out to the public, anyone looking to invest in this city, that you have a council that's sitting here that's ready to go to work for you. God bless you all. Let's look forward to having a great year. Madam Clerk, Council President orders a resolution on third and final.
CPR 2018-11, resolution of the Common Council confirming resolution number 2018-9 that designated and established a certain area of the city of Gary, Indiana as the Alliance Economic Revitalization Area, to which deductions from excess value may be requested by an applicant to the Common Council of the City of Gary pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1, sponsored by Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, City of Gary, President Ronald Brewer, and Joe Van Dyke, Executive Director of the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission.
Mr. President, I move the passage of CPR 2018-11 on third and final reading.
Second.
Then move properly second. Overview at this time.
Mr. President, I'm going to ask Joe Van Dyke to come forward and provide that overview with your permission.
Mr. Van Dyke, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, thank you so much, Council. Happy New Year. This and the next four resolutions actually are the final step for Alliance Steel Corporation's tax abatement. Roughly a month ago, a declaratory resolution was passed by this body to establish economic revitalization area from which tax abatements and deductions could be made after a statutory period of advertising and public hearings, this being the final one. These next four resolutions are as follows. One is the confirmatory resolution confirming that area for Alliance Steel and a vacant building deduction, personal property, and real property deductions, respectively. Collectively, those represent a 5-year tax abatement worth $1.2 million against a $19.7 million project. Alliance Steel is bringing 100 jobs from their Bedford Park facility, many of which will be filled, some of which will be open and available to Gary residents first. At full build-out, they'll have 130 full-time jobs with average wages of $31 an hour.
Any questions, council members?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman.
I have 2 copies of CPR 2018-11. Are they both the same? Do you know? There's no amendments or anything since.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
And just to that point, Councilwoman, you should have had all of these initially when this came before the board in November. So I have a memo that I wrote to the council that was distributed on November 7th in advance of your previous vote, as well as the declaratory resolution that was before the council previously and what's before you today. So you've had 2 months with no changes on it.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, public portion now open. Anyone like to speak for or against CPR 2018-11? We have 3 minutes to speak on this one.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Jim Nowacki. I live in the 2nd District. I spoke at the meeting about a month ago where the council designated this area as a revitalization area. And at the time we had an overview, the owner of Alliance Steel had come before the body, made a lot of promises. As I recall, I made at least one promise at that meeting, and that was the promise that this is the last we're going to see of representatives of Alliance Steel. Here we're taking action to give them, according to Mr. Van Dyke, $1.2 million by my calculations and by the calculations of the council members when you add up all of the incentives, $2 million. And he didn't even show up today. Try to imagine that here the council is taking important action that's going to have a $2 million advantage for the Alliance Steel Corporation. And they didn't even think it was important enough to show up for the meeting. That shows a number of things. One, that they don't care what the council does, because they already, of course, know what you're going to do. And 2, they don't really care that much about the financial condition of our city. If they had, they would have, like the steel mills have for generations, really dig in and support the city. You know, in the past, the steel mills, the steel industries, they carried most of the weight for the tax burden for the city. Now, we read about U.S. Steel getting a big tax abatement. We see this Alliance Steel coming in and getting a big tax abatement. But I think the council should, at the very least, expect that a representative from the steel company is at least going to make an appearance at this meeting. Otherwise, the council could take a responsible action and say, we didn't have to rush to do this. You know, this is almost unprecedented to have a business meeting on the first day of the year. Usually you wait for the next available meeting. But in this instance, you know, the council could show a little responsibility and say we want to make sure that Alliance Steel is going to hold up to their promises, their what they represented. Ask them that they show up at the meeting. Thank you.
Public portion is now closed. Roll call, Madam.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Wade.
And this is one of the reasons why we have discussion. It's not protocol that you try to shut up your council people. You respect the right of each council member to voice their concerns and voice their opinions. There's been no arguing here today. We've made statements and statements on principle. In this particular situation, I do believe that we should defer this resolution, the vote on this resolution, because historically, If someone is not here and it's their resolution that we're voting on, we defer it, we don't vote on it, or whatever the case may be. I don't care how much money or how many jobs they're bringing, because this is indicative of how they will treat our community. They're saying they're bringing 100 and some jobs, and we don't know whether they're going to bring those jobs or not, but the people would like to face them and say, hey, make that promise in front of everybody. So, Mr. President, I would actually like to defer this situation until a representative from Alliance Steel is here to come before the entire body of the council and the constituents. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let me just say, the representative from Alliance Steel was here at the last council meeting. We talked in great detail about this in the finance committee. And we knew when the first ordinance that came before that there were going to be several steps that were going to take place after it. It made no sense to have them to come back when we knew we had already approved it the first go around. These are just the follow-up steps that were taking place. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Also, this is a holiday, and it's very possible that it may be out of town.
Mr. President?
Did she call my name?
No.
Yes. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do something about this machine because I cannot hear down here what is going on. I don't know if it's because your mics are not picking up or what, but I can't hear. I don't know what's going on, so I want to just let you know I can't hear. And I've said it before, and I continue to say it. On this end, down here, I cannot hear.
I would ask that everyone, as you're talking, the Councilwoman Brown has expressed that she cannot hear on the end. If we can pull our mics up as we are having discussion. Councilwoman Wade?
Yes. Anybody who has ever brought an ordinance, a resolution before this body, they have to come to every single meeting. Nobody is more important than the next person. And you can see daycare providers, they have to go to so many meetings. Council President himself and his wife, when they were putting forth their daycare home, that's when I met, well, I felt like I knew them. They were coming to every single meeting. And so Alliance Steel is no better than any resident of the city of Gary or anyone else who is putting a business, trying to put a business in. We want the business, but we also want you to respect our community. Thank you, Mr. President.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade?
No.
Councilwoman Wyatt?
Yes.
President Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 7 yes, 1 no.
With a vote of 7 yes, 1 no, CPR 2018-11 is passed on third and final, and so ordered.
CPR 2018-12, a resolution of the Gary County Council for granting Alliance Steel Corporation an excess valuation deduction for depreciable personal property pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1, sponsored by Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, City of Gary, President Ronald Brewer, the Gary County Council, and Joe Van Dyke, Executive Director of the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission.
Mr. President, I move for passage of CPR 2018-12 on third and final reading.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Caldwell. Mr. Van Dyke, please, they gave an overview pretty much of everything, but I'll have to let you come back if you have anything additional.
No, this is just the personal property component of the vacant. There will also be a vacant building deduction and a real property component as well.
Any comments, council members?
Mr. President, just as an additional aspect to the overview, the total incentive package is 1.5 million. It is not 2 million. It's 300,000 from redevelopment and 1.2 in abatement.
And this is just for the record, this is a 5-year abatement. It's not a customary 10-year. This is a 5-year.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman.
Thank you. Yes, this will be in the first district, and I very much support this, and I want to, and I think it's important for us to, we need to invest the gift business, but we also need to make the process as smooth as possible so that other businesses see that they can relocate here and that they will have a professional and smooth, streamlined process about it. So I'm very much in favor of this. Thank you.
Roll call, any public portion at this time.
Good evening, Mr. President, good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Jim Nowacki. I live in the 2nd District. And as in a previous comment, the overview was incorrect. I'm glad the mayor caught that. It was not 1.2 million. It was, in fact, 1.5 million. I said it was 2 million, but putting all the incentives together, we're going to have the mayor make another correction, maybe after the end of this public comment, saying, yes, in fact, it's not 1.5 million, it's closer to 2 million, because I stand here on my record, always bringing good advice, always bringing good information to the council, to people watching on TV, that we just get the wrong information. Mr. Van Dyke, the administration, it's the wrong information. I bring to the council's attention, because we talked about how smooth we want the process to be. It can't get any smoother than this. They don't even have to show up. But I know I read in the newspaper that there's a property owner outside the airport. He's got to sue the city, because not only is the process not smooth, but it's crooked. You know, the property owners there said they can't even sell their property because the city is illegally pardon? We're talking about how easy this is? You're not making it easy, Mr. President.
Sit to this ordinance.
Yes, it is. It's the
Talking
same
about the airport.
thing.
It's not about the airport.
Where we're talking about this abatement and making the process easy for to get this assessed valuation deduction. Am I not on point? I thought I was.
No, you're talking about the airport.
Yeah. Well, it's a similar. So as we look at this and find that while corrections are even being made as the meeting is being held, is that fair? That Mr. Van Dyke gives erroneous information, the administration gives erroneous information, and the council really doesn't hold anyone accountable to make sure that you're getting the correct information, except when the public comes up and brings it to your attention. So I oppose the abatement for Alliance Steel, not only because of the lack of attendance at the meeting, but you know, they had been before the redevelopment commission. They were going to buy a property in the airport development zone area, and they actually put a bid in it, and then walked away from their bid, and nobody held them accountable. If you can come before the city, get all of these goodies, and nobody holds you accountable, how can it be any smoother than that? Thank you.
Seeing no one else, public portion is now closed. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade?
No.
Councilwoman Wyatt?
Yes.
And President Bowie.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 7 yes, 1 no.
With 7 yes, 1 no, CPR 2018-12 passed on third and final. So ordered.
CPR 2018-13, a resolution of Gary Common Council granting Alliance Steel Corporation an excess valuation deduction of real property pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1, sponsored by Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, City of Gary, President Ronald Brewer, the Gary Common Council, and Joe Van Dyke, Executive Director, City of Gary Redevelopment Commission.
Mr. President, I move for passage of CPR 2018-13 on third and final reading.
Second.
Been moved properly second. Overview, pretty much the same what we have here. Is there any discussion by any council members? Public portion, this time.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Jim Nowacki. I live in the 2nd District. Here's another instance where we really haven't gotten the correct information before this body takes action, voting for this. In this instance, we've seen no evidence that this was a vacant building before we're granting it. I think anyone familiar with the location knows that the Berkheimer Company and other uses of the facility until as recently as I can recall. So I don't understand why a deduction is given for vacancy when the building's been occupied and conducting business right up until they changed leasers on that. So or lessee on that. So this would be a good opportunity for the council to ask a tough question, ask the administration, ask Mr. Van Dyke for what that would be worth. Show us some evidence that this property complies with the state requirements to offer this deduction. This is not in itself the tax deduction, it's the vacancy deduction. But at the committee meeting that wasn't addressed, I attended the committee meeting. I know that wasn't addressed. It was not addressed in their package. There was no evidence to substantiate that. So I'm going to request that the council, I know we want to make it smooth, and you're making it smooth, but where there's substantial non-compliance with the state, with the states, with the requirements that the states has for this, the council has to. You just kind of have to do your job. You have to do your due diligence. I'm not asking for anyone to, take a punch for these guys, but you've got to at least make sure that what's being submitted is accurate and fair, not just fair to make it smooth for these guys, but make it smooth for everyone who doesn't get the kid glove treatment that Alliance Steel has. So when we want to talk about whether or not the city's being taken over, here's a good example that the council can use right here. Is the city being taken over, or is the council, as our representatives, asking tough questions, getting accurate answers, holding Mr. Van Dyke accountable for misrepresenting it to the council? I mean, these are things that, at a minimum, the citizens who elect you require. Thank you.
This is on real property. This is not on vacant property. I think you got the ordinance numbers, Mr. Wackett. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade?
No.
Councilwoman Wyatt?
Yes.
And President Board.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 7 yes, 1 no.
Vote is 7 yes, 1 no. CPR 2018-13 has passed on third and final, so ordered.
CPR 2018-14, a resolution of the Gary Common Council granting Alliance Steel Corporation an excess valuation deduction for vacant building deductions pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1, sponsored by Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, City of Gary, President Ronald Brewer of the Gary Common Council, and Joe Van Dyke, Executive Director of the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission.
Last one.
I'm sorry.
We got the last one.
I already moved for passage of this one, didn't I? CPR 2000, I'm sorry, Mr. President, I moved for passage of CPR 2018-14 on third and final reading.
Second.
The move
Sorry.
properly second. This is on the vacant property at this time.
Right.
Overview has pretty much been given. I don't know if there's anything else you need to add, or we're good. Okay. Public portion.
Mr. Chairman.
Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, the property was vacated on January 31st, 2018.
Mayor, this indicated the property was vacated January 31st, 2018.
January 31st, 2018, that would be 11 months, Mr. President, not a year. Certainly not complying with the requirement that it probably be vacant for a year, so.
Still vacant.
You know, that's, you know, once again, we want to make the process easy. And how much easier can it be than the petitioner doesn't show up, we don't get an overview from the redevelopment director of redevelopment. How much easier can it be? We recognize that it hasn't been vacant for a year, and we're rushing to give this company, lay out the carpet for this company, give them advantages that they're not entitled to. They're not even entitled to it. And it's not me telling you that. It's Mr. Van Dyke telling you that. It's the administration telling you that. And they just happen to agree with me, which, you know, shows that they're going in the right direction, but puts the city council on Jump Street on this, in that they're not complying with the requirements. Not when they submitted it, not when Mr. Van Dyke tripped all over himself to stumble to the podium and give you false information, not when the administration has to correct him over and over again. I don't know the reason for that, but the council you're the one taking action on this. Mr. Van Dyke is taking no action on it. The mayor is taking no action on it. The council's taking action on it. And I know it's hard for the council to say, you know, we have to be tough. We have to hold people accountable. I know, because you want to make it easy. You want to make it easy. And that's good, because you want to make it easy. I understand that. But guess what? That's not an easy job. If it was, you know, then, well, maybe it is an easy job if all you do is just do this without making sure that the evidence is submitted at the committee. It was not. Mr. Van Dyke didn't submit it in his overview. He was afraid even to come up here and tell you that I was right when I brought that up. He was afraid to come up here and tell you. But now the council's on the jump. Now the council's responsible for taking action on this. Not the mayor, not Mr. Van Dyke, you. And all I'm saying is that you've got to show that. You can't just hear the mayor say it. You can't just hear the mayor say it. That would not satisfy any rule of law. Oh, well, the mayor said it. Bring that into a court of law. Oh, the mayor said it. That's not enough. Well, Mr. Van Dyke didn't even come to the podium and say it. No evidence is submitted, and as a matter of fact, the mayor's own testimony is that it doesn't comply. Thank you.
Seeing no one else, public portion is now closed. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman White.
I'm looking at the second page of the ordinance, and it does say that to be an eligible vacant, it has to be at least 1 year. So I would suggest that we just defer this particular ordinance until the first meeting in February. Would that, you know, I don't want to muck up the works, but it does seem, if it's true that they were vacated on January 31st of 2018, then we're not at least a year.
Mr. Van Dyke, are those the rules of the redevelopment commission? Are those your rules?
No, statute.
Those are statute rules? Okay. Well, I would stand, there's a valid point there. I will take that motion. I will need a second on it, that this will be deferred to the next council meeting.
Second.
Well, yeah, you're right. Excuse me.
We need a
before we do
motion
that.
to defer this.
Can the motion be made to take it to the first meeting in February? That will give them the time frame, what it needs to be.
Yes, I move that CPR 2018-14 be deferred to the first meeting in February of 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to defer CPR 2018-14 to the first meeting in February, that is February the 5th. Roll call, Madam Clerk, for the deferral.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wyatt,
Yes.
and President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 8-0.
A vote of 8-0, CPR 2018-14 has been deferred to February 5th at 6 p.m. at the next council meeting. Well, the first council meeting in February.
Mr. President, pending ordinance and resolutions on third and final.
Council pending resolution, ordinance and resolution on second reading.
Excuse me.
Yes, Councilwoman Flores.
Does not the motion that Councilwoman Brown made need to be withdrawn?
Yes.
She wants me to make the motion.
Your motion to withdraw.
Okay, Mr. President, I move to withdraw CPR 2018-14 from third and final reading.
Second.
Then the motion to withdraw CPR 2018-14. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Yes?
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Proko,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wyatt,
Yes.
and President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, CPR 2018-14, the motion to move for passage has been withdrawn at this time. Council order resolution now on second reading.
CPO 2018-70, an ordinance amending Title 15 entitled Land Uses, Chapter 123 entitled Zoning Code of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Gary, Indiana. Petitioners GNR Contracting, 5821 North US 35, LaPorte, Indiana. Property at 2859, 2853 Dallas Street, 2800 and 2740 Calhoun Street.
President,
Council Smith.
I move for passage of CPO 2018-70 on second reading. Put the hearing date, put the planning hearing date of January 8th at 5 p.m. and public hearing date of January 15th at 6 p.m.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Yes?
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Proko,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wyatt,
Yes.
and President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 8-0.
With a vote of 8-0, CPO 2018-70 is moved to the Planning Committee January the 8th at 5 p.m. and a public hearing January 15th at 6 p.m.
CPO 2018-71, an ordinance by the Gary Common Council establishing a holiday schedule for the city of Gary in calendar year 2019, sponsored by members of Gary Common Council.
Mr. President, can we just adopt this schedule? There's no reason to have a meeting, I don't think, on the holidays for next year. I think that we can just adopt this resolution, it's just a holiday schedule.
See, pass on all three?
So, my motion would be to pass on all three then, or pass for adoption. Oh, it's not a resolution,
No, it's
okay.
an ordinance.
All three readings then.
There's a motion to suspend the rules and pass on all three. Second by Councilwoman Caldwell, suspend the rules. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Yes?
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Proko,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wyatt,
Yes.
and President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, vote is 8-0.
Vote of 8-0, CPO 2018-71. We have suspended the rules to pass on all three. Now I need the motion at this time, Councilwoman Brown.
Mr. President, I move for passage of CPO 2018-71.
Second.
Then second by Councilwoman Caldwell. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Yes?
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Proko,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sparks Wade,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wyatt,
Yes.
and President Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. President, the vote is 8-0.
We have voted for 8-0. CPO 2018-71 has passed on all three readings.
Mr. President, it's pending ordinance and resolutions on the second reading.
Thank you. At this time, we will have the mayor's report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Happy New Year to everyone. I want to first and foremost ask Nate George and Vicki Ward to join me at the podium. We actually have two long-term employees who have retired, and Vicki is one of them. She has been with the city for 29 and a half years. And I think our other employee, Kenny Jenkins, may have partied a little bit too much last night, but they were both supposed to be here, but we certainly wanted to say to Vicki, thank you for your service. She spent a significant part of that service in the mayor's office with Deputy Mayor Geraldine Toussaint and others. She spent a significant part of that in the park department, and we just want to give you this as a token of our appreciation. I want to ask Nate to come forward as the department head who worked with Vicki as well and say a few words if you would like to.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to miss Vicki. She keeps things very lively in our office. She is never one to tell us how she feels, so we don't know how we're going to deal with that. But on a serious note, we really appreciate Vicki's service and the amount of time that she took just helping us with different areas. She's always been a team player in whatever we needed for the department. I have 6 years of experience with her and have enjoyed every single moment, even when we bump heads, we're still here. So, Vicki, good luck. Congratulations. We know we'll see you at a Frankie Beverly and Mays concert whenever they're So enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, and come back to work tomorrow.
In addition to that, Mr. President, I wanted to offer my condolences to the family of Odessa Roby Walker. She was a long-time entrepreneur in this city, one of the trailblazers of hair care entrepreneurs. She also had a beauty school, and she, in fact, passed away. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions for the mayor? It's time.
Mr. President?
Wait.
Yeah. I've been out, so I missed the last council meeting, and I just wanted to ask, how are we on the sale leaseback closing? Is that still scheduled for the end of the year?
We are, well, it did not close at the end of the year. We are hoping that it will close next month. We're doing some final points of due diligence. Yes.
Thank you.
And one of the things, I'm sorry, I did forget, on January 14th, there are two events. One is the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I will be making a presentation about that will focus largely on business. And on the 14th, that evening, at Marquette United Methodist Church, I will address the MCC. And this will be the kickoff of a tour of the districts over the course of the next 90 days. And so I will make sure that everybody is aware of the dates, but we'll of course start off in the first. And that will be at the MCC meeting at Marquette. But the meeting of the Council of the Chamber of Commerce will be at the Diamond Center, and we will kind of talk about not just the businesses that have come, are coming, but what it means to local residents and what it means to local businesses. So I would encourage folks to come to the Chamber of Commerce meeting at the Diamond Center on the 14th. Also, we will be joined by special guests from Indianapolis that day. Thank you.
At this time, For our public portion, we have 3 speakers. Mr. Nowacki is first. Then I have an Abe Williams and it's a Jimmerman. Mr. Wacky.
Mr. President, as Mr. Wacky comes up, I forgot to just indicate that first I wanted to congratulate you and Councilwoman Linda Barnes Caldwell on being elected the president and vice president. And we do have refreshments as a result of you all being elected new officers and in honor of the new year.
Mr. Nowacki.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Jim Nowacki. I live in the 2nd District, and there had been at least 2 council members who responded to an article in the Times of Northwest Indiana. Mr. President, you made a comment, and Councilman Brown also made a comment being relieved by the governor's comments that he's not going to be taking over the city of Darien. Perhaps you somehow missed the actual, what he was actually telegraphing with those obvious comments. He did not make those comments to offer relief to the council or to members of the public that the city is safe now because the state is not going to take it over. His comments were directed to the rest of the state. In other words, when there's a clamor that things are so bad in our city, when the conditions are so out of order that not only the residents of this city throw our hands up and wonder what can be done, but people in the rest of the state are also looking at the city and the conditions in the city and wondering what can be done. And so they asked the governor, is there something the government can do? But the governor throws his hands up and to assure not the residents of Darien, to assure the rest of the state, we're not going to touch that city. We've seen what happened at the airport when the state took over the airport. And we see the problems at the $200 million investment we've made there. We see the problems at the sanitary district, when the federal government had to take over the sanitary district. We see the problems at the school system, when the state had to take over the school system. And people around the state realize that the burden that comes from things in our city being so out of order should not be just put on the shoulders of the rest of the state. So what the governor he was not giving you, Mr. President, assurance. He was not giving Mr. Brown assurance that you're going to be safe here at the city. He was actually assuring the rest of the state, we are not going to do that. So the problem is this, you guys have to do the job. And that's what he told you. You guys have to do the job. The state's not going to come in. But he didn't do that to assure you. He did that to assure the rest of the state. But let me tell the council, you guys have to step up to the plate. You guys have to make tough decisions, and they have to be the right decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak?
Ms. Walker, I don't have you on. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to do it for one, I do it for everyone else.
I had to sign, I'm sorry. I really wanted to address that.
Okay, I don't see no one else, other speakers. Can you give your name for the record when you get to the mic?
The name is Ms. Williams.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Williams.
I wanted to say that...
Ms. Williams, can you come to the mic for we can hear you?
Yes, I wanted to say that...
A little closer, Ms. Williams, so we can't hear you. Please come over to the mic here.
Can you hear me now?
No,
Can you hear me now?
a little better.
Okay, I wanted to say that Commissioner Hawkins and Inspector Jenkins there isn't even words to describe them. They are very knowledgeable. Their expertise has really helped the city to come back together again. You had some very valuable players. And I want to commend the mayor for allowing us to have them in our graces. The second thing I wanted to ask, do we still have the facade program for the residents? Thank you.
Motion carries. That will be our last speaker for this afternoon. We will convene at our next council meeting at our regular time at 6 p.m. Entertain a motion for adjournment.